What is up, YouTube? Chase Bristow, the Horny Homemaker here. I'm doing a shit ton of dishes right now because when I get depressed, I let a lot of mess build up in this apartment. So I figured while I do my dishes, as a humble apology to everybody, feeling nosebleeds coming on too. Stress. When I get really stressed out, my nose bleeds, by the way. I could not record my thing last night. However, I crushed it. Hands down, bar none, crushed it. And though I couldn't record it while I do my dishes, which is, well, depression because my TV is broke, and the fact that this coffee is still kicking that I had yesterday before I even got myself ready, I'm going to share some stories that I told last night while I tackle these dishes with nothing but hot water. My back may be turned because I'm doing the dishes, so bear with me. But this is, kind of like a consolation prize type deal. So, you get to hear me. You may not see me, my face, but at least you'll know what I was talking about. So I'm going to put this right here. And, it's basically going to be audio. Pretend it's a podcast, I guess. So I started off going on the stage. A lot of people were talking about how they were married and how they gained weight and all that. So I come up on stage saying that I'm blessed because I can't gain weight to save my life, and I shouldn't even be on stage right now because I have been hooked up to a machine keeping me alive. It's called my refrigerator. All I do is eat. And I love going out to eat. And I'm from a town that the only good thing about it is its crabs. Baltimore. It's a tough town. It's so tough that even the libraries have signs on the walls that say shut the fuck up. And, the apartments there aren't too good either because I had a regular that I would hook up with. Anybody will tell you, I used to be a slut back in the day, back in Baltimore. Put a whole new meaning on Miss Baltimore Crabs. If you ever watch Hairspray. But I was hooking up with a regular who was having his bedroom redone because the plaster fell out behind his headboard, and he had his mattress in his living room and his coffee table in his bedroom. So we were going at it in his bedroom. All of a sudden, the earth began to move. Next thing you know, we're falling right into the apartment complex down below. And he's underneath the covers. And when the dust settled, all I saw were a mother, a father, a son, and a daughter, all watching the live-action remake of 101 Dalmatians. And the first thing that I could think of to say was, oh my God, Glenn Close. Now I will tell you, bar none, she is the best Cruella de Vil. I don't care what anybody says. She's the best Cruella de Vil that ever was. And they're just looking at me with their jaws dropped, and I'm like, can you, do any of you guys have a bathrobe? And they're like, what's wrong with the blankets and the sheets? I said, it's not for me, it's for your neighbor. Have you met him? They're like, no. I said, well, it's fine, time to be introduced. Say hello, guys. I mean, I come from a tough neighborhood. I mean, half the gay guys in Baltimore think Mamma Mia is about a mother who's missing in action. I mean, it's tough. After the headboard was replaced and the floors were reinforced, I came back and I let that guy have it again. Well, I gave him the best blowjob he's ever had, and no, there were consequences involved. I heard a pounding on the door. We were both lighting up our cigarettes, and there's a pounding on the door, and it's the police. And they asked, is everything all right? I said, yes, sir. They wanted to see where the victim was, and I pointed him to my regular who's sitting there in his bathroom smoking a cigarette. So the sheriff told the deputy to go outside and take some notes in the car. And as he was out there taking notes, he hears another scream that sounds like another homicide going on. When he comes back, he sees the sheriff sitting there in his boxers smoking a cigarette. And he asked the sheriff, he's like, what's going on? Why? And the sheriff points to me and says, you want to let him know what's going on? I said, okay. See your pants there? Drop them. Next thing you know, I'm having the entire fucking precinct at this guy's house. One blowjob after another. And I only wish these stories were fictional or had some fragment of fiction, because I am prone to the most ridiculous experiences known to mankind, or anybody for that matter. Hell, doesn't even have to be anything involving sex. When I go to play golf, when I would play golf with my ex-husband, let me tell you, I lost, back in 2021, or 22, I lost 300 pounds of ugly fat within 5 minutes. All I had to do was sign divorce papers. I call that the South Bitch Diet. Now, as I was saying, my ex-husband though, he used to take me to play mini golf. And every single time we would go to the golf course. At first, I dropped my ball, it had the little water feature with a pirate ship in the middle, a fountain and all. I would, boom, knock my ball into the water and go fishing for it. Sleeve get a little wet, no biggie. Second time, I'd knock my ball in there, go fishing for it, get a little wetter, a little bit more frustrated because it's in the water. By the third or fourth time, I would be so frazzled that I would wind up falling right in. And it would be inevitable every single time. I'd go swimming at the golf course. We didn't need a membership to a pool, all my ex-husband would have to do was take me to the golf course. I'd go swimming. Didn't need a lake, didn't need a membership, just a couple of rented balls and golf clubs. So, it was inevitable. And then, one time though, had to cap it all off because after I managed to go swimming, I was a smoker at the time. I smoked my Newport 100s. And, well, needless to say, they were ruined. But by going swimming, as usual. And then I had to get my ball from the bushes. Now leave it to someone like me to get lost in a fucking shrub. So I'm looking for the ball. I'm lost as hell in this bush, getting all kind of dirt and twigs and everything else on me. And I come out, and after the game, after playing golf, I had to make my ex-husband stop, and we went to a gas station, and he didn't get out. I got out to go get myself a new pack of Newports. So, when I did, everybody's looking at me, and I look back at them. I'm like, what? Haven't you guys ever seen somebody just get finished playing a game of golf? And I walked right up, casually, nonchalantly, to the counter, and I said, can I get a pack of Newport 100, please? And she's looking at me, and I hand her this soaked dollar bill out of a soaking wet wallet. And she's looking at me. And she's like, are you hungry or something? Hey, why don't you grab some soda? I mean, it's Wisconsin. People are so nice there. She said, are you hungry? Grab some chips. Grab a soda. I got you. You don't worry about the cigarettes. So I wound up getting a free pack of cigarettes and some soda. She thought I was homeless. That's one way to score some cigarettes, I guess. But yeah, I can't remember everything that was said, but then I went on to say that there was this really heavy-set guy talking about his weight there, and I said, you think you're heavy-set? Man, I dated a priest that would make you look anorexic. And it's true. I told him, this priest, he wore this rug on his head that I always told him, you cannot go swimming in a lake. The beavers will think you're building a nest. And he would pray, and I would pray too. I would pray every time when he would bow his head. Oh, please, God, don't let his hair fall into the soup again. Talk about say a little prayer for you. And then, well, I always have to throw in shit about my parents. So, I went on to tell them, there's some, I come from a very strong bloodline. In the 1700s, there was Michael or Matthew Tillman, founded Tillman's Island in Maryland. And then, in the 1800s, there was General Reynolds, first general killed in the battle in Gettysburg. There's even a statue in Gettysburg erected to him. And then, in the 1900s, there was Marion Crawford, governess to the late Queen Elizabeth, my father's great aunt. Now, the Queen didn't consider her the help. The Queen considered her family. And, Considering that she was royalty and the queen considered her family, that makes me royalty, and royalty is in my bloodline. That being said, my mother's a royal bitch. So, I forget where I segued after that. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I am prone to accidents. Like, it doesn't even need to be in the bedroom for me to have something insane happen. Like, I accidentally ran the LA Marathon. Accidentally. Everybody wanted to know, how'd you accidentally run the Los Angeles Marathon? Well, the Golden Girls made me do it, damn it. Because I was looking for a place to sit down and watch the Golden Girls before I went sightseeing. And that day, the sidewalks were so packed you couldn't even breathe without bumping into somebody. So, I had an idea. I didn't see any cars on Hollywood Boulevard that day. No traffic, no cars, no nothing. What did I do? I inched my way to the nearest little break in the barricades with my $13 cup of matcha that I got at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf on Hollywood Boulevard. And my phone in my hand, and I'm sitting there looking at my phone, just watching the Golden Girls, Thank You for Being a Friend's playing, a little theme song going on, and I'm looking at everybody all cocky and smug. Turn the fucking corner, and there's over 1,000 people standing there. Next thing you know, they all start running up on all sides of me. And I am like, what the actual fuck? I threw my matcha up in the air before it even had a chance to go near anybody. Didn't want to hit nobody with that delicious goodness. I shoved my phone in my pocket and ran like hell, mainly to avoid being trampled. Well, the barricades were there, and I couldn't get out of the barricades at this point, so I just kept running. Like Forrest Gump, I was running, and after about an hour and a half of running, I turned to my side. I said, "Excuse me, sir, where are we running to?" And the guy next to me is like, "This is the LA Marathon." I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I wanted to go sightseeing that day, but damn it, I did not want to do it that fast. And I'm sorry my back is to you, but like I said, I need to get these dishes done. It is the day before Wednesday, and my stability is going to be a little bit better tomorrow because I'm getting a new TV. I've already been looking at Walmart. But back to my stories. So I definitely want to give a special shout out to a lot of people who have made it a lot easier to go up on stage last night. First and foremost, I'd like to thank I'd like to look at the camera right now and thank my case manager Lou for everything he's done for me. I'd like to thank my best friend Lexi for her words of encouragement. And I want to thank the bartender Blake who gave me this banging ass Long Island iced tea that was so strong my mother could feel it back in Baltimore. And I'd like to thank my occupational therapist who gave me some advice and told me just act like you're an OT. You made everybody laugh there, and you were doing therapy, do it. Just act like you're at an OT session. And above all else, I want to thank Kim Bellin, or if you look up her channel, her name is Karma Moon. She's like an adopted mother to me. You know, when you're gay and you are thrown out, the best part about being thrown out by your family when you're gay is you get to adopt your own family. And my adopted mother is Karma Moon. Above all else, I want to thank her because she's a professional comedian. And I wouldn't be where I am today without her assistance. She saved me in so many ways. But back to my stories. So I like to talk about. I was talking about how I used to get yelled at. Like back when I was living back home, I would go one of two ways. You would either be in the middle of a sitcom or be in the middle of the Jerry Springer show, depending on my mother's mood. But I used to do things that I should get reprimanded for, but my father found it way too comical to even try. So, like one time, hold on a minute. One time I was when I was 26, I was sexting about 7 different guys at the same time. 7, now that's juggling right there. And when I was sexting them, one guy asked me for a dick pic and said, how big's your dick? And I sent him a picture. I said it's 7.5 inches. You want to come over and suck it? I was booking fucking appointments, man. And then, somehow or another, my mother asked me if I'd clean my room. So I said, yeah, clean my room. Well, the guy that asked me how big my dick was responded by saying, well, I guess we'll have a lot of room to play then. I am like, oh, fuck. I sent a dick pic to my mother, and she would not talk to me. Apparently, my dick looked like my father's dick somehow, and she couldn't even look at either of us for about a week. And my father looked at me, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck you did. And he looked like he was fuming, like he was gonna kill me. And then his lips started quivering and tears come out of his eyes. But thank you. I'm like, you're welcome. Another time, I had no idea that people could be allergic to Dulcolax, so as an April Fool's prank, I decided to put Dulcolax in my mother's coffee beans. And when I did, she wound up going to the hospital and her throat closed up. She could not speak at all. And my father came up to me and said, Chase, do you realize your mother is in the hospital? She cannot talk at all. And then he was on the phone with her, and then he muted the phone, and he's like, and thank you so much. And then went back. He's like, oh, I must have dropped my phone. I'm walking around the house. Sorry, hon. Yes, I definitely shoot his ass out. Don't ever do it again, and I mean it. So, then one time, my mother was first going through menopause. We're having a family night. We're all watching a movie together, having a good time, and my mom's kind of moody. Of course, it's menopause. So, we're sitting there, and she goes out to the kitchen, storms off. I've become a real bitch lately. And you're clumping off. And I mumble under my breath because I know I'm going to catch hell for this. But I'll say it anyway. I said, well, admitting it's the first step in recovery. My father could not stop laughing to save his goddamn life. Even when my mother came in. What the hell are you guys laughing at? What are you laughing at? He couldn't. Next thing you know, him and I are both going to Walmart to buy ourselves a nice tent to go sleep in the backyard for the next 3 nights. My father laughed all the way to Walmart too and said it was worth it. But I told everybody, don't worry. I got on my father too with my sarcasm, my way with words. Because after my parents destroyed my marriage, I wound up going back home, and I noticed that my father gained a shit ton of weight. Like he was a fucking blimp. And I kept, making cracks on him, and my mother eventually told me, Chase, you need to cool it with that. You really need to calm down with that. Because he's had a lot of surgery. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm like, what kind of surgery did he have? And she's like, they've been injecting him they've been giving him injections. She couldn't really talk because she was kind of upset that I kept. They've been giving him injections. I'm like, what the fuck were they injecting him with? Gravy? She said no, steroids, and right after that, she just laughed so hard she was crying. She said, Kenny, get in here. You gotta hear what he just said. I don't know how he comes up with it, but he has an answer for everything lately. He is fucking hysterical. And I'm like, thanks for the words of confidence, mama. And, well, hell, my parents can be bad influences on me sometimes, too. Because, one time, there was a time in my life where, my parents did not know what I was doing outside of the house, and, they were kind of blind to the fact that I was going out hooking up all the time, which was fine. But one time, I went out to have some amazing sex and tried smoking crystal meth for the very first time. Now, when I got home, my parents had been on me for 3 months to clean my bedroom. Well, you could not even see my floor for months. It was that bad. You couldn't see my floor. Now, I came home shortly after my father left to go to work. And he comes home for lunch, or on his lunch break, and sees the most bizarre and peculiar sight that raised a lot of concern with him, which was my bedroom floor. I used to be such a slob, and he sees my room completely spotless, dust-free, everything put away in its proper place, organized, neat, and tidy, for the first time ever. Done all by me without anyone harping. And he looks at me and he's like, Chase, I want you to be honest with me. I am not going to get mad, but are you high on drugs of any kind? I'm like, do you want to know the truth? And he's like, I won't get mad, I promise. I said, if you get mad, can I smack you upside the head? And he's like, if I get mad, you can smack me upside the head and take my car and run it into the house. Mind you, he had an Infiniti. So, I told him, I said, okay, you want the truth? I smoked some crystal meth last night. He is grabbing his fucking money clip out of his pocket. He's like, how much does that shit cost? Because I want you to go find whoever gave that to you, whoever you smoked that with, and go buy some. I'm like, Dad, that's an illegal drug. He's like, I don't care, your room's clean. I was like, gee, thanks for pimping me out to the wall. So, I had that happen, and then I was talking about how there are certain types of people that I love to fuck with. Like, mainly Jehovah's Witnesses. One time I was finishing hooking up with this really hot Filipino guy, and I was looking out the window hoping that my father was not coming home because it was getting to the end of the wire for his window of time coming home from work on his lunch break. So I saw golden opportunity. It was a Jehovah's Witness walking around. And I looked at him, I said, you want to make 20 bucks? He's like, yeah. I said, I dug in my little toy chest for my adult time that my parents never knew about, and got a pair of Andrew Christians and put these on and follow my lead. I was like, alright. So we went to the door and I answered it. They said, hi, do you know Jesus? I said, yes. He loved me last night. He loved me this morning. And he's going to love me this afternoon. I could feel the power of him inside me. It felt so amazing. Like, oh, that's so sweet. You know, smiling and all. Like those old ladies do. And then they said, well, we have a book about him. And I'm like, wait a minute. I pulled this Filipino guy out and I'm like, you know these bitches? And why didn't you tell me you were famous enough to have a book written about you? Get the hell out of my house or give me some money or something. Hell, I want some royalties. They looked like they were about to shit themselves. Well, that was one strike against me from them. The second strike was the biggest, because next time I saw them coming around, it was around Halloween time, and I was testing out all my fog machines and my lighting. And I was testing out all my green lights at the time, and I don't know how I acquired it, probably from working at Spirit, and it was like one of those items that was just being thrown away. But I had a priest outfit, and I had one of those full-size posable dummies that look like basically a stuffed animal with a mannequin head and mannequin hands and feet. And so I decided to take my tailgate speaker and play the ending of The Exorcist, where the priest gets flung out the window, and they're coming up to the door at this point, and I'm opening up the window. All they see is this green fog coming out, and next thing you know, they see a Bible being flung out at him, and then a full-size priest gets flung at them. Now, my father comes home from work for lunch, and at this point I have all the fog machines and everything put away. The house is aired out because the main reason I opened up the window was to air out the house so nobody would see any evidence of fog machine use. And that being said, my father came home and came up to me, he's like, Chase, did you shit yourself in the driveway? I'm like, no. He said, don't lie to me. I said, I'm not lying. But if you want to know the truth, we ain't going to be bothered by Jehovah's Witness anymore. He's like, as long as the cops don't come to this house, I don't care what you did, thank you. I said, you're welcome. Again. And then at that point it was time for, at that point everybody was laughing their asses off at this show that I did. I mean, like, I was it. They had, 2 other people that signed up, and one person did a 10-minute set, the other person did a 5-minute set, and the first guy was absolutely hilarious. He claimed to not think so. He has a podcast, and believe it or not, he wants me to be on it. So I actually wound up getting some sort of notoriety out of the whole ordeal. And like I said, I do apologize for not recording this last night, but I knew that the buses were going to stop running, and I had like 40% on my phone at the time, and it was either record my performance and get lost on a 4-hour walk back home, or somehow make it up to you guys later on by telling you what I was talking about and kind of doing a reenactment, which I decided on that. Because the last thing I wanted to do was get lost in that town with money that's very hard to come by. I mean, granted, I spent $10 on a Long Island iced tea, but I needed that, like, real bad. So yeah, I do apologize for not being able to record my routine, and I hope you enjoyed the makeup, the second act, I guess, while I'm sitting here cleaning an entire sink full of dishes left by extreme depression after having my TV shattered and all my hopes and dreams of catching the latest episode of Ghosts, which I'm definitely going to be catching tomorrow. I'm probably going to go to the store later on. Well, after I finish these dishes, I'm going to go to the store and get some chicken, because chicken has some shit in it that'll put people to sleep. God knows I'm going to need to sleep and catch up on that, because I have the most insane and hectic day tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. I've got to go to the post office and get my cashier's check. I have to pay my electric bill. I have to pay my phone bill. I have to pay my phone bill, I have to pay my electric bill, I have to pay my rent, I have to buy a round trip ticket to Chicago for Sunday, and whatever I have left over, I've got to go buy a TV set. And then if anything's left over from that, I have to go get a cashier's check for $200 if I have that, and put it away for my Mamma Mia ticket that I'm going to be getting in August. And if I have $100 left over from all that, I've got to get a cashier's check for that and put it away for Halloween tax. But either Halloween tax or my Mamma Mia tax is going to have to, one of those two is going to have to wait. Especially since I have to get a Amazon Prime account and link my debit card and everything else up to this new TV. And then I'm going to have to start saving $100 a month for a screen replacement. So I have like an insane time ahead of me tomorrow, and I'm going to need to sleep, and I'm going to need to rest my voice, because after doing this reenactment and telling, like, basically redoing my entire comedy act, I can feel my voice starting to crack right now. So I'm going to really need to rest it. And those of you who have gotten to the end of this video, I really thank you for your support. I was trying to get done all these dishes and dry my hands before I touch my phone, because it's really sensitive. I mean, it's more sensitive than a rope bag on pride. And I'm gay, I could say that, by the way. So, bear with me. I mean, technically it's the end of the video, but if I finish washing and drying these dishes before you decide to tune out on me, I'll do a little dance. I'll take my shirt off for you, hell. Right now I don't want to get wet hands on my phone and have it go all haywire on me. So, it may even cut out. May even do me a favor and actually cut out on me. Who knows? So, again, that was pretty much the entirety of my routine from last night. And again, I do apologize for not being able to record it, but I wanted to get back home. I set that as a major priority. So, you know, I do apologize for that. I was in a strange area. I've never been there before, and it was very concerning too. because I was on my way there, and it was weird. I saw a gas station, a convenience store, and some sort of meat packing place. And it was also a hospital all in one. And after I passed that, I was like, nah, I'm not going to record my content tonight. I'm just going to go home and do my dishes and make up for it and basically tell everybody the same thing that I said at the comedy show. And instead of everybody seeing seeing me up on stage, they can see me in my kitchen. I mean, there's really no difference except for, you know, you're hearing the same thing, you're seeing what you wanted to see, and I got home safe, so hopefully everybody's happy with that. And I really felt bad about it, because I know you guys were wanting to see it, but, you know, I was also wanting to get home safe and not wind up in the convenience store on the shelf labeled as a Slim Jim. After somebody would try to rob me, and I'd wind up in the hospital, and they'd wind up doing me in and serving me as meat at that convenience store. Now, I didn't want that shit, so I wanted to get home safe. And all that's left is to take care of all those wash rags, which I will do later on. And I do thank you. You've been an amazing audience. Thank you for bearing with me. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for getting to the end of this video. Bottom of my heart, I apologize for not recording. Wanted to get home safe. And all those dishes are done. And I am going to go to the store and get some chicken. Remember, a tidy home is a happy home.